All right, what's going on, everyone? I wanted to do a quick thing before I start this video. Now, I'm gonna be dicking around in this video, putting this microphone on and stuff. But do you see my eyes right now? Do you see how I look? Well, anyway, this is before I take the medication I take because of a concussion I had 20 years ago. I still have the effects that I have with my eyes being really buggy and stuff. So this is how I look before and I know I don't like it. I'm very I don't know what the word is, but I don't like it. I don't like when I look like I'm staring at somebody, like my eyes are really wide and open, but it's some kind of nerve damage or something that had happened with me. And if you ever see me blinking in my videos, how I do, I'm not doing it right now too bad, but when I do that, I can't help that. It's something with my brain or something that happened with me when I had a concussion in November 14th, 2003 is when everything changed for me, is when I had something happen that completely changed the whole course of my life as a person. And I'm just getting on here to say this. If you ever see me doing this or you ever see my eyes looking funny or me blinking, I can't help it. And it does. It even drives me crazy if I watch my own videos and I see me doing this. So, anyway, with that being said, with that long intro, and I'm going to be messing around in this video because I'm trying to get used to when I press record, it's kind of like I have this habit of, I don't know how to explain it, but I want to just press record and start talking as though I'm not setting up for anything. Like it's not, pre-planned when I do it. I mean, I never pre-plan a video when I make a video. Never. I just get on and I talk. But anyway, let me get into the topic that I want to speak about here, and I'm going to put this on my shirt. And before I do that, let me grab my coffee real quick. All right. So yeah, I will put a link in the description to where you can skip forward so that you ain't got to see this. I know some people don't want to see stuff like this, but yeah, and my hair is all over the place, but I don't care. I don't care anymore, really. I like to look okay, but whatever. So anyway, what I am going to be talking about in this video, I'm watching a video right now called My View on Homosexuality as an Episcopal Christian by Jordan Owen. Now, this video has nothing to do with him or what he's saying about all of this stuff, because what he's saying in this, I'm not talking about Christianity or religion either. He's talking about the whole pride thing that has come about in our world. This whole I identify as something thing, and you must call me that thing. And if you don't accept my pride and all this stuff, like, listen, this is literally destroying, it's making things to where if a comedian jokes around, people take it as an insult. It destroys lightening up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's people are so serious and so, if you don't tell them what they want to hear, then they're ready to literally rip you apart and go crazy on you because you said one little thing that they identify or they have pride for. Listen, this thing, you didn't even hear about stuff like this up until, I would say, the 2010s is when all this shit started. Now, it might have been before that. People were still talking about Pride and Pride Month and all these months that we have, all these irrelevant, stupid months that we have. This is all just based upon the matrix and based upon the conditioning that we've been conditioned to think that we need to be for other people. And I don't know why my nose right here feels like there's a feather or something in my nose. But this is, see, until we understand as people that all of these concepts are literally ways to get you involved with the construct of the stupidity and the ignorance, the false self of person that we have become because of what we've been programmed to think that we have to be for other people. And people, they fall into this toxic soup so easy because right when something is not going right in their life, then it's this thing where, well, something's not going right for me, so now I have to say that you have to cater to the thing going on with me and my personal thing, and you have to call me this, and if you don't say this about me, and these people and their mindsets, it is so poisonous to people like me, people like myself. And see, me, I am non-establishment, I am non-group. I don't listen. Here's the thing. Groups of people, what is the need for groups of people? Really think about the things that I'm going to be telling you in this video and videos to come. Really, really think about these things for yourself. Because if you don't realize that this whole thing that we have been led to think and believe is a construct, it is literally the matrix itself. It's just like the movie. And the machines are the TV, are social media, are the powers that be, are the corporations. These are the machines that are manufacturing people, the thought of people, and they're using them for the energy to create and make and build upon and buy and sell and do all this for them. And this all goes hand in hand. This all goes hand in hand with each other. And I have been watching videos on a person named Batel Skater and her talking about these things. And it is exactly what is going on in our world. It is this ego thing going on. It is this everybody seeking and looking for validation from everybody else. And if you say one thing that goes against that doesn't validate their ego, or say somebody gives you a compliment and you don't respond back. See, people that have an ego, that are in the construct of ego and their false self, the false sense of self that they've been conditioned to believe that they are, they're going to go right to that thought in their mind, because they haven't not yet seen that it's all bullshit anyway. It's all a lie anyway. And what they'll do, they'll either get offended, they'll get mad, they'll get agitated because I complimented you, but you didn't compliment me back. You see, if I would ever compliment someone, if I would ever say anything about anyone, I would never expect them to say anything back to me. If I would ever write something in a YouTube comment, I would never expect someone to write something back. Because that's all ego-driven stuff. That's all pride-driven stuff. Because I said something, you need to validate me back. See, this is not real human connection when we're talking about things like this. Human connection to me, and if anybody has escaped from the puppet strings. See, all of us were or are still puppets on a string. See, I was a puppet on a string until I realized these things for myself. And I made the choice to see them and examine them and to break them down and to understand the lie and the conditioning. And I made the choice to cut the strings. You see, but see, here's the thing though, and I won't lie. We are all, even if you cut the strings off, we are all still puppets here. Let's not lie to ourselves. We all still need to survive. We all still need to do things in this world, but you are not a puppet on a string anymore. You're not being controlled and manipulated and lied to and letting the construct of the ego and the conditioning and the indoctrination and what all these other people are saying. There is no need for this pride thing. It's nonsensical extra baggage. It is just causing unnecessary problems for other people. There is no need for this. I need you to call me a man or a woman or this or that, or don't call me this or that. This mindset is absolutely, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's not even crazy. It's nuts, because I even said before, when you're talking about crazy and nuts, there's a difference. Me, I'm crazy too in many ways. I'm crazy because I don't allow anybody to tell me what I'm gonna do, so therefore people will look at me like I'm crazy because I do things that the normal person might not do or say, and I speak it how it is. I speak the truth. See, I don't, and here's another thing that I want to say before I go any further in this video. I think that we need to stop saying the higher self, or we are on a higher plane of existence or a higher plane of thinking. No, there is no such thing as higher self. It's just the self. We're not on a higher plane. We're on a different plane of thinking. See, there's no need to boast when the person that knows themselves, the person that knows that they are not puppets on a string, the person that understands what goes on in this world every day, all the time, why people act the way they act, why people say the things they say, why people do the things they do, why they talk the way they talk. The one who understands that does not need to boast about being higher than anybody else. There's no need for that either. That's just bringing unnecessary drama to yourself too. You don't need to say that you're higher than. I don't need to boast that I'm higher than anybody else, because none of us here are better or worse than anybody. It's just that some of us have a better understanding of why things are going on here that are going on here. And you understand the construct of what is going on here. You understand the lies and the manipulation and the conditioning and all these things that we've been brought up to believe. Because they told us, at one time, they told us that this thing was this thing, we believed it. See, you have to first realize that right as soon as we came out of our mother's wombs here, we have been told a whole bunch of things. Whole bunch of things. And all those things have went into here. And we are still going by. We are still living by. We are still reacting to. We are still being tricked by, deceived by, played by, manipulated by, if I didn't already say that. But do you understand that out there is the question. Do you understand that for yourself out there? It does, see, it has to be a thing where you realize this for yourself. And in saying these things, it isn't that you're trying to seem like such a serious person that is so uptight about everything. But when you know better than to get involved with the irrelevant things, the nonsensical things, the things that do nothing but cause more problems for yourself and other people, cheers, you start realizing that all of this was just a construct that you never needed. See, when we use things like, now see, here's where I start pushing the boundaries with people. This is where it starts becoming, for anybody that is still conditioned, this is where it starts becoming personal for those people. And see, do you know what personal means? Do you know what personal really means? All of our personal things are just ego, pride, conditioning. All the things that we think we need to be for other people are personal things. When we say personal, what does that mean when I say personal things? The only thing that is personal is what I do when I am by myself, and that is nobody else's business. Just like when you do what you do when you're by yourself, that's nobody else's business or concern. That's your personal life. Nobody needs to know about your personal things. If you want to talk about your personal things, you can do that. If you don't want to talk about your personal things, you have every right to not talk about your personal things. But see, when we're talking about things like relationships with other people, we think that we need to be in relationships with somebody, don't we? We've been programmed and conditioned to think that a man has to be in a relationship with a woman. And then we go by that thought saying, I need to be with a woman for the world. I need to be with a woman for them. I need to be with a woman because I was told if I'm not with a woman, I'm not a man. If I'm not with a woman, then I'm not going to be having the sex that I want. If I'm not with a woman, I won't be fulfilled. See, these are things that we've been told. told by other people, and we just believed it. We just assumed that that was the thing that we need to be doing. And listen, I am not sitting here speaking down upon people that are in healthy relationships with one another. If that's what people do, then that's what people do. That's their life, and they have every right to live the life that they want to live. But I'm telling you, the relationship thing is very hard to talk about because we've been so conditioned to think that we need to be involved with everything that's going on out here in the world. We need to be with groups of people. We need to socialize with everybody. We need to reach out to everyone. It just, this whole thing is, in order to explain the whole thing in a video, you could not do. You just cannot do. It is impossible to explain this in one video to someone that might not be getting it or understanding it. Okay, the relationship thing is one thing. There's another thing like what we do with our children. This is another thing that people don't want to hear about. But listen, if I was somebody that had a kid, which I'm not having children, I would not send my kid off to a school to be indoctrinated. I would teach them simple math. I would teach them simple things like how to read, how to write, how to add and subtract, the times tables. I would teach them about what has been done to humanity from ideologies. I would teach them about the death camps. I would teach them about the horrible things humans have done to one another so that we don't repeat these things. But all these other things that we teach our children and stuff, it is just a way to get them to be a part of all of this stuff going on. And it's not hard for me to understand what it is, but sometimes it is a little hard for me to explain because in order to explain it, I have to rewind back to the beginning of how this started for me as a person. And how it started for me as a person, I was watching a clip of George Carlin. This is when people say, there's so many things people call this. People call these things awakening or seeing the matrix for what it is or being enlightened or what. I don't like using any of those terms. I like saying you finally understand the fabric of what goes on here. Your eyes have been opened in a way that they have never been opened. And see, anyone that tells you that this is going to be an easy thing, anyone that tells you that there's just going to be this, I got it moment, it doesn't happen like that. Do you know how long it took me to finally understand this for myself? Do you know how long it took me to understand what I was doing to myself and what other people were doing to themselves, and to see the fabric of what goes on behind the mask and facade of every person? The false self being put on every day out here, the manipulation, the tactics to make us act one way around each other that we know that we're really not that. We're just being that way because of something we've been conditioned to think that we have to be for everybody else. And this is why socialism is something that is if you are not saying what we're saying, if you are not doing what we're doing, if you are not talking about the things we're talking about, if you are not involving yourself what we're involving ourselves with. See, socialism evolves around if you are not involved with the crowd and what they're saying, then you're going to be looked at as an enemy, an outsider, a misfit, an outcast, someone to be dealt with. And see, there's something that Battelle Skater said in her video. I knew this, but I just couldn't accept it for myself. I was scared to accept it for myself, but I have accepted it for myself. When you are an outcast, why do you think that you are an outcast? And I understood this, but I could not tell myself this before. See, usually when you're an outcast, this is not for every outcast person. This is for myself. An outcast is someone that is being authentic while other people are not being authentic, while everybody else is just saying and doing things to fit into the mold of what the Matrix has conditioned them to think and do. And I always wondered, why am I an outcast? Why don't I fit in anywhere? Why do I feel like I don't belong anywhere? Because I was always being authentic with myself, you see. I was always being honest with me. I was always telling it how it was. When I seen something awkward or strange or something that felt off, I would be the one to bring it up. I would be the one to expose it. I would be the one to talk about it and examine it and analyze it and be truthful with it. And other people, it was always this thing where other people, they did not want to do that. They were not willing to do that. So therefore, I was always the outcast. I never fit in. I never felt like I belong here, or every time I need to say something that I say, it's always this thing of, I'm the one that is something. You see, anytime someone doesn't understand something, like I'm saying, they'll always have something to say about you, to put it all on you, to make it look like you're the one that doesn't know what you're doing or saying. Because they're in denial of this. Denial. The denial well runs so deep with people that think like this. And this whole pride thing, this whole, you need to call me this or that, or I identify as this or that, and all this madness going on in the inner cities and on TV and the news and social media. It's complete madness. It's utter, it's nuts. It's extra baggage nutness in my view. And to anybody that is logical and thinking for themselves, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And when you know this for yourself, more than likely you are not going to be in groups of people anymore. You are not going to be someone that socializes with the masses, because this is what the masses are on. But the masses will never admit it. The masses are in denial of it. And see, when we say that, we as people, we are scared, we are in fear to be honest with ourselves and expose these things, because more than likely we're going to get shunned and we're going to be alone on it, and we're going to be the outsider, the outcast. So what? So what? You know, a lot of you out there, you know that you will never fit into the mold of what they're trying to get you to fit into. So why keep trying to fit in there? You are literally a round peg trying to fit into a square peg. And I need to fit in here. I gotta fit in. I'm scared, so I need to go back to these people. Drop the peg. Drop the peg and say, the peg is not for me. See, when you do this, there is a realization. It's a realization process that happens. You keep realizing and letting go. You realize another thing and let go. You realize that the peg is not fitting in anymore, and you're not going to try to do that. You're not going to go by the conditioning or the programming or the indoctrination anymore. And you say, I'm letting go of it. It's a letting go process. It's a shedding process. It's literally a dying process. You're letting your ego die. And when people tell you that there is no ego and it doesn't exist, no, a literal ego does not exist. It's a mindset. It's a metaphor for the way that our minds have been trained to think, have been conditioned to think we have to be. That's what the ego is. That's what this pride thing is. It's just putting on for other people. It's just trying to get validation so bad that we can't even be ourselves anymore because we're constantly seeking this thing. If you're somebody that's still like that. And this is what these people do all the time, every day. They do all of these things, all of these pride things, and all of these identify things, and you need to call me this and that, and I am this and I am that, and they need the validation and approval of other people, and all along they're not even really being themselves. It is a false self. It is a false self. It is a false conditioned self. And until you as an individual can get that, you are never going to be free here. You are never going to be a free person, a free individual to do what you do, to say what you say, to expose these things when they're needed to be exposed. And see, in that, in saying all of those things, you have to understand that this whole thing is a construct. It is a mold. It is a false sense. It's a false perception of how we think we need to be for the world and other people that we never needed to be. It's the unnecessary baggage of our life that we need to let go. It's the round peg not fitting in the triangle or the square peg. You can't get it to fit, so stop trying to get it to fit. You first have to, and see, anybody, I'm getting back to this and I'm ending the video. Anybody that tells you that it's gonna be easy, they're lying to you. Anybody that tells you that you're not gonna go through confusion and like, oh my gosh, what have I done? What am I doing? Because see, that is the illusion trying to come back into your mind and your head. It's the thing that you've been living by for so many years, just like I was, and you think that you need to get that back. You think that you need it back when you know it did you no good anyway. It didn't do nothing for you anyway. See, if you are someone that you do not see a problem with so many things, if you are somebody that is not seeing that there are many things that are going on here, then more than likely you're not understanding this. And hold on, I wrote something in my notebook. I want to get this right, what I'm saying, so that you know what I said. So what did I write? It's something that if you don't if you are somebody that you don't see that something is going on or something is wrong here before you have this happen, then you're not understanding it. If there's only like one or two little things in your life that, if you're not bothered by many things before this happens to you, you need to be completely, utterly, absolutely bothered by everything that you see. See, if you are not bothered by many things here, you're not getting this. And you're more than likely not going to get this because you're going along with all of the stuff out here. See, if you're someone that you're bothered by one or two real little things and, there's nothing going on. Those people are okay. Oh, what do you mean? That's not happening. That's all just in your mind. That doesn't happen. See, denial. These are the people that are in absolute denial. And see, if you're looking at me on this, don't look at me. You need to be looking at yourself with this, not me. This is not a projecting thing. This is a thing to be self-reflected. If you are not somebody that comes here and self-reflects, see, I am no good for a conditioned mind. I am no good to a programmed mind. I am no good for a indoctrinated mind. A mind that is set on an ideology that my ideology is better than theirs because once I was told that I have the pure blood. I am the master race. I am the person that is better than everybody. I am the chosen person. I am a chosen one here. See, this is all based upon the false self of ego that is constantly going on in your mind. The women, I have to wear the certain nails and I gotta do the certain things for my girls, and the guys, they gotta put on this tough guy image. They gotta wear the latest brands, and on and on and on. There's a lot of other examples, but see, for myself, I literally went through this myself. I went through this process and this stage. And those videos that you've seen of me when I was depressed and I was going through a really tough time and I was talking about what I was talking about, it's because I was going through the shedding process of shedding all of this nonsense, of shedding all of the that I've been told, all of the that was put in my mind, all of the conditioning, indoctrination, programming. You must do this. You have to do this for people. You got to put on this for everybody. See, when you break that down, of course you're going to feel bad because you're going against the very fabric of what you thought you were, but you're not, but you thought you were, and you were hanging on to that so hard. You were hanging on to those identities and those personas and those masks and facades so hard. See, it's almost like, say that I'm talking to you right now. Say that I'm some person talking to another person. Say I'm Linda and here comes Gracie. Oh, hey Linda. What's up, girl? What you doing? Oh, okay, I see what you got going on. But then, when they're not there, when Gracie's not around, Linda takes the mask off and goes, her again. I'm tired of seeing her and, talking with her. This is how a lot of people really are, but they will never tell you that's how they are. Now, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that every single individual person, when they meet someone they know, thinks that way. I'm just saying a majority of us, we talk like this. We talk in a manner where we're really not even saying what we really mean. We're really not telling people the answer to a question we're being asked, because we're still going by the false self, the false perception, the false reality, the false mode in our mind to think what we have to say for someone else. And if we don't say that, then we're gonna look a certain way. If we don't say what we think they want to hear, then we're gonna look like something. We're gonna be shunned and we're gonna be looked at different. This is what we need to happen. This is something that needs to happen for us to move on from it. But this is why humanity has still not moved on from it, is because it is still going on till today. There is people that literally wake up and they will do all of the same exact things. They will say all the same exact things. They will literally relive the day because they don't know how to let go of this whole I need to be a certain way for people thing. And there is no change. There is no newness. There is no renewing of the mind. There is no shedding. There is no saying, okay, I'm not listening to my ego today. I am going to naturally do something that I maybe never did before. I'm going to experiment with things in my life. And see, I don't want to get too deep into the after effect of what somebody should do, because this is up to the person to examine this for themselves. You see, in this video, it's kind of like one of these things. We should all be putting this to the side and be going, okay, what am I doing here right now? What is it that I'm saying to people that I know is not real, but it's a mask and facade? What am I putting on for others? What do I think that I have to wear today because I think other people want to see me wearing that thing? How am I acting? How am I perceiving my life based upon what I think other people want to perceive me as? See, that is not freedom. That is not freedom. That is bondage. That is slavery. That is a manipulated and conditioned mind. And everything you see out here today in our world, if you're taking a deep, honest look at it, if you are examining it for what it really is, and you're not being manipulated and you're not the puppet on the string, oh, there goes something new. Oh, I gotta get that. Oh, the news? Oh, really? Oh, well, I gotta go get the latest shot. Oh, what are they doing over there? I gotta go see. Snip, 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 snip. Whoa. And then when you cut the strings, it's going to be a thing where you're going to be in a completely different, but where it starts, see, with me, it started with me watching George Carlin talking about the bullshit of America, how Americans love their bullshit, the hypocrisy of people. If you're someone that has never watched George Carlin's comedy specials and you have never watched his interviews or him talking, you need to go and watch him. He is one person that laid the foundation along with Charles Bukowski, along with Osho, and Batel Skater is someone right now that I'm listening to. And these people are just another piece of the puzzle of knowledge. They're another piece of the puzzle of what we need to put together here to understand amongst one another so that we can have the understanding of it with one another. So that we can stop doing this bullshit. See, it doesn't mean that we have to be with one another. It doesn't mean that we have to be right there socializing with each other. See, you don't need a lot of this stuff that you think you need. We're all dying to fit in somewhere, to be validated, to socialize with other people. Think about it. Think about what it really is. Think about it before you just say, I need to do this. I need to do this. All that is, it's the conditioning in your mind telling you you have to do it. It's a feeling, it's a false feeling in your mind that is convincing you that if you don't do it, you're not enough. You're not a good person if you don't do that. You're not involving yourself with the good things in the world. See, this is manipulation. This is manipulation, and we have been being manipulated since we came out of the womb. Our parents were manipulated, their grandparents were manipulated, their great-grandparents were manipulated, their great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great, and on and on and on, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, 10 times great, and then it goes 10 times back, 100 times back, and this is what humanity has been doing to itself. We've created this thing. We've created these perceptions. We created this false reality for ourselves. And until you and I understand this for ourselves, then we're going to be involved with it. You see what I'm saying? There will be no exposure because there is nothing to expose. Because once you understand it, you can't help but to expose it because you realized how you've been played. You realize how you've been duped and lied to, and how you've been deceived and you've been tricked and you've been the puppet on the strings all along from this. And yet again, we were told to be a square to fit into a square. But really what's going on is we are a square trying to fit into the circle, which is the construct of this false self and this false reality and this false perception of how we think we should be for others. And we're all constantly trying to fit into that thing that will never work. We know that it's not there. The people that are actually aware of this. See, there are 2 words. 2 of the most important words on this planet are consciously aware. If you are not consciously aware, then you are asleep. You are dreaming in a false self. You are literally under the construct of falsehoods. You are seeing it like, I have to put on for these people today. I have to wear this for them today. I have to act this way for them today. I have to talk this way. I have to respond this way. And that is a person that's not even themselves anymore. And I know because I was once like that. I was once one of these people. I was being manipulated by the thought in my head of what other people thought of me. My whole life evolved around what I was doing for other people because I thought other people wanted me to do that thing. And I wasn't living for myself. I wasn't doing anything I wanted to do. I wasn't making something or building something of my own because I was so focused on what everybody else was doing that I couldn't focus on myself. And that's not freedom, that's bondage, that's slavery. And this has nothing to do with being selfish. See, when someone will call you selfish for things like this, there is no such thing as selfish. There's greedy, but there's no selfish. Every single person is selfish. Every single person, it is about you and me. It is about me taking responsibility for me and holding myself accountable, just like you out there. And when we say these things, this is just all a part of the construct of the programming and conditioning and indoctrination and the false thing that we got going on. And see, when you realize this and you come to this realization and you shed this skin, you are not going to worry about the things that you were worrying about before, because you're going to see how irrelevant it was. You're going to see how unneeded it was, how nonsensical it was, how much it was, there was no purpose, there was no meaning for it at all. The more that you see these things and the more you let go of these things, the more you realize, and this is what Battelle Skater says, is that the more present you will be in this moment now. You're not thinking, what do I have to do for them? Where do I have to go for them? What am I doing today for everybody else? It's a thing where you're here right now with you as a person. There's nothing really going on. It doesn't mean you can't do things, but what is the reason that you do the things that you do? Really think about it. Do you do the things you do to help the health of other people, simply to help people with their health? Do you do the things you do to simply, when somebody needs your help, you're there to help them with a need? See, all the other stuff there's no need for. It's just extra baggage. It's just playing this game with each other. This little game of unnecessary happenings, of unnecessary words, of unnecessary talking, unnecessary action. And so many people are doing this. And from that comes problems. Problems, and more problems. And that's why I said, if you are not keen to the fact, if you are not, what was the word that I used a little bit ago? I'm not going to remember what it was, but if you are not seeing that there are many things going on that you are not bothered by, if you are not bothered before you get to where I'm talking about right now, more than likely, this is going over the head of those people that are not bothered by it. And if you're bothered, that's not a bad thing. That means that you're understanding this for yourself. If you're bothered, you are freeing yourself from those things. If you are bothered, that means you're being honest with yourself. If you are bothered, that means that you are seeing things that other people that are blind to it are not seeing it, and you are seeing it for what it is. And that's why you're bothered by these things. It's why I'm bothered by them and I examine them. But see, I'm on this right now where even though I'm bothered, I'm just doing this for another person out there. I'm speaking this so that you can understand this for yourself, because I already know what it's about, and it's already happened to me, you see. So in me speaking about this, it's somewhat of a burden, but it's a good burden for me. It's kind of like I get sick and tired of speaking about it, but it's a good sick and tired, because I know that I'm telling someone else this so that they can understand it for themselves. Because yet again, and before I end this video, we have got to stop assuming that other people just get this, that other people know this. We have got to stop assuming or keeping it to ourselves. We need to start telling other people about these things so that when they live the rest of their life, they can have an understanding and knowledge of this for themselves, so they don't have to keep beating themselves to a pulp, so that they don't have to keep worrying about unnecessary things, so that they don't have to keep involving themselves, the circles. They don't have to keep trying to fit into a square hole or a triangle hole, because it's not going to work. So let go of it. It's a letting go process. It's a dying process. It is a literal letting the building fall. The building that you built up because of your pride and your ego and sense of I am something for people, the false self, the putting on the mask and facade. I'm building up something for me so that they will approve of me. You have to let it fall. Bomb that motherfucker and let it fall to the ground in decimation. That's what you need to do to be free. Until the pride building falls, until the ego building falls, until the building of I am more important than, I am chosen, just so many things. The construct of what I think I should be for people. I need to wear this. I need to talk this way. Let it all fall to the ground. And when it falls to the ground, you're going to be like, what did I just do? Oh my gosh. I need to get it back. I need to build the building again. Oh my goodness. Grab that brick. I need to grab this brick. Oh my gosh, where's the door? Oh my goodness, where's the people to help me get it again? And you're going to, listen, this is what I went through when I went through this. And I went through it for a long time. It was a long, drawn out, dragging process that I went through. And I'm not saying that the things that go on up in here with my own stuff, but that's my personal stuff. Even though those things go on, I know better than to fall for this thing. And yet again, if you see this for what it is, you are not a puppet on a string anymore, being manipulated and lied to and being convinced of, or being tricked into thinking you need to be this or that, or you should be this or that. See, all of that dies, and that's the only way that you can be yourself. That's the only way that you can be a free individual. That is the only way you can quit putting up this facade for other people. It's the only way that you can let down the false perception and the false reality that you think's a reality in your head that's not a reality. That's the only way that you can let that die and let it go. And to do that, one has to be brutally honest. To do that, one has got to confront things that they do not want to confront. To do that, one has got to take a look in the mirror and ask themselves, what the hell have I been doing here for 37 years if you're 37 years old? If you don't do that and you're still looking towards people for answers, if you're still looking towards people to validate you, if you're still looking towards people to tell you what you need to hear, if you're still complimenting people and you're looking for compliments back, and if they don't compliment you back, you get offended or hurt, you're still involved with all of the nonsense that I'm talking about. You still are going by the construct of the false self in the matrix. So in that, I said it how I said it. There is no other way I can say it but how I say it, and I accept that because that's how I said it. Here's what you need to ask yourself today. Are you a free individual, or are you still in bondage and slavery? Are you consciously aware, or are you blind to what's really going on? Are you just obliviously going through life doing the same exact things every single day and nothing is ever different? Nothing ever bothers you. If nothing ever bothers you, you have a problem. So think, consciously aware. Later.